Sept.
So, okay, I'm sorry to hear about your friend. So
Alright.
today there will be you and Donald to share the books. So
Mhm.
thank you for choosing me to be the moderator. So I think we should start with Pipit with the book World War II Homefront, Pipit.
Okay. So I think I cannot open a laptop right now. I'm laying down like this. Is
Oh my
that
God,
okay?
what are you doing?
Yeah, because so itu lemas, lemas, lemas. So
Mager,
lemas.
mager.
Yes. Okay. Right. So the book I'm gonna show. I hope I don't have to show my face. This is the book, World War II Homefront. So it's supposed to be called World War II, the U.S. Homefront, because the book talks about the U.S. Side of the home front. Yeah, not even a page is dedicated to talk about the home front in other countries that were involved in World War II. So this is the title was misleading, and I just noticed that the rating in Goodreads is actually only 3 point something. Yeah, and I agree in a way that there's not much to. I'm not saying not much to learn from. It's just a lot of the facts that have been stated here is something that I have heard before in other settings. Yeah, so that's why in for me, I would rate this 4, and I rarely, if not 3. So I rarely am stingy in reading books. So that's it. I'm gonna turn off the camera. So, oh, Kak Mita, what are the questions? I forgot. Why I chose this book? The question?
The questions about the book is
Yes.
like, who's the author?
Uh,
What's the synopsis of the
uh,
book? And why did you choose the book? And the golden nuggets or the
Golden Nugget.
wisdom that you gain from reading the book? And should
Okay.
we read it too? Or what's your rating and
Okay.
recommendation?
All right. Thank you. So, this is part of the Witness to History series that I read the whole year. I actually read this already last month. So I'm now reading a different one called Pearl Harbor, Witness to History Pearl Harbor and the D-Day. So I'm trying to remember my reflection from last month, but well, it was the next on the list. Yeah, that's why it was the only reason why I chose this book. And the writer is not famous at all. It's Gary E. Barr. So I think he writes books about history, but for middle school students. Yeah. So that's about how I came across this book and about the writer. Now, the book talks about the U.S. home front during World War II, basically. So a lot of interesting thing I found. For example, I'm sure you have heard this before that the U.S. used to practice isolationism, right? So they did not want to participate in a foreign war that time because they learned their lesson from World War One that once obviously a lot of people died from World War One, so they did not want to repeat the same situation. So that was the reason why the U.S. did not was not drawn into the war until the later stage of World War Two. So they practice isolationism, and to me, it is very ironic that they have ever practiced isolationism because right now, right after World War Two, America is totally the opposite of that. They try to be an intervention actor whenever possible, whenever, even when not asked or not needed, for example. So I found how they changed their foreign policy, the stance in their foreign policy to be interesting. However, one thing to also be learned from the US is that you need to be prepared for the worst. So even though they knew, or they even though they were had this even though they had this belief that they were not going to be involved in a war, but it didn't stop them from preparing themselves. So even though they said it in their statement, the president stated that we're not going to be drawn into this war, not going to be drawn into this war. But behind the scene, they were prepared. They were still preparing for it. So I think that is a really valuable lesson, because a lot of people think that just because you decide you're not going to do it, you somehow close the up, close the chance that it will actually happen. But the reality is we don't even know what will happen in the next month or year or something like that. So it says here the US prepared to join the war long before they actually joined the war. That's why it's worth noting. And then a lot of the pages of the books were dedicated to talk about FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the fact that he was, of course, disabled. He could not walk, right? Because of polio, he contracted when he was 39. But uh, he was able to pull the US through the World War II and the Great Depression. So it was incredible. And that time, he was able to hide the fact that he was disabled for 9 years. So he got the polio in 1921, but for 9 years he was able to hide it, and then he got reelected as the president in 1932, or actually 11 years, not even 9 years. Yeah, not that I remember in my head was 9 years, but now that I look at the year here, it was 11 years. So incredible that he it was a coordinated effort. For example, the Secret Service always made sure the public did not see them physically. Even though they were journalists, all of the photographs of FDR must be submitted to the Secret Service first. For all photographs that show him in wheelchairs or show him walking with assistance, these photographs were destroyed basically. So as of now, there are only 4 surviving photos of FDR on in a wheelchair, basically, all with assisted someone assisting him walking. But the fact that now that people know he was disabled, they thought like this disability was the one that made him have the mental toughness to as a president. So his weakness physically actually made him strong mentally. So I think that's a really good point to make. And then it talks about how the US was somehow felt sorry for the UK, even though they could not join the war directly. They helped the UK with the Lend-Lease Act, things like that, giving them weapons, and don't worry about paying. You can pay it after the war, blah, blah, blah. And FDR again, oh my goodness, talking about FDR, maybe like 9 pages. Uh, it's funny in a way that he was supposed to be the weakest president physically, but he's also the longest serving president of the United States for 12 and a half years. And he frequently uh, broadcast in radio almost every day to encourage American public to join the war effort. You know, they call it the fireside chats. Then a lot of quotes actually come of this. For example, maybe you heard of the expression "we're all in this together." Actually, you heard of the expression "we're all in this together." This is also it was uh, uh it was from the fireside chat that FDR every day did through the radio. And 80% of Americans actually that time listened to him speaking through the radio almost every day. And he did a lot of policies. For example, they converted car factories into military machine factories. And interesting enough, they outlawed striking, labor strikes. He outlawed them. So laborers were not allowed to stage a protest, apalagi mogok kerja. There's no way in heaven. he would allow that, and that is because during emergency situation, right? So even though they are a democratic country, but during emergency, they set aside some parts of their democratic values, including freedom to strike for laborers. And makes me think that maybe there are a lot of other countries who do not support or who outlaw labor strike is because they're in a constant state of emergency, maybe. They talk about a lot about the civil defense. Uh, the regular people are being taught how to defend their neighborhood, and then victory garden that people, if they're not old enough or they're not young enough to be sent to war to be drafted in the army, they are required to plant things in their garden and then give the produce for the war effort, things like that. Taxing the rich, blah blah blah. Blackout curtains. It said that blackout curtains. They learned from how Germany bombed UK that time. So during this bombing of Blitzkrieg, they did it during night time because it was difficult to operate surface to air machine basically. So it's so difficult to shoot down airplanes from the ground during nighttime. That's why night bombs actually night what is it called night right air raids actually done during nighttime. And their guide light is the lights from people's houses to determine where to drop the bomb. That's why every single house was given this blackout curtains to make their light not able to be seen from outside. Curfew was imposed because if you are caught wandering around at night without any purpose, you will be singled out as spies or terrorists. Um, at one time, in total, around 18 million people were drafted to wage this war in World War II. 18 million. And in the beginning, they gave the lottery to men from the age 21 until 35, and then they were given lottery, and then if their name comes up and they're healthy, they have to go. But then later on, they could not find more people. That's why they lowered the age limit from 21 to 18. But now even without lottery, so basically as soon as you turn 18, you have to go for war. So it was extreme in that sense. Um, the money efforts also was very significant. They talk about the war bonds from little children until old people. They sold and bought war bonds in total 135 billion US dollars. And even with that amount, the US government still was not able to pay a lot of debt they owe to a lot of companies who produce a lot of this military uh, weapons and stuff, right? So a lot of uh, things about witness to history, it's people buying. Oh, sorry, people writing diary, and then they display the diary here, right? And then some of the diaries talk about everyone bought war bonds, and then one of the diaries actually mentioned, I don't know anyone who has not bought it, to the fact that it was a very constant, orchestrated effort because the Americans were threatened after the Pearl Harbor. Um, Maybe two things that I would like to mention again as the last one is the production time of producing all of these weapons are cut short, and it was incredible. I think they were the most productive in history of the US. So a large ship that usually took a year to finish, it was finished in 2 months. So that is that incredible fast and efficient. the war effort was. And late in the war, the US production capacity or effectivity actually matched the combined production of Germany, Japan, and Italy. So, so I found that very incredible. And they said that there has never been uh, an orchestrated effort that matched the war effort in, in World War II, basically. So, and also this is one of the reasons when um, women actually realized that their roles were not only traditional now, because for the first time ever, a lot of these women were pulled out of their house in a way because they were had to work in factories. A lot of men actually went to war, and they were um, supported by the government to participate in the war effort. So they left their traditional occupations as homemakers, farming, farmers, things like that, housewives. So after the World War II even finished, they were reluctant to go back to their traditional roles, and then that's create resentment by males in the 1950s all the way until 60s, and then and that also accidentally started the what is it called, fight for equal treatment in the United States between men and women all throughout the 50s and 60s. So that was the accidental um, impact of World War II. And also, Black people that time were also encouraged to participate in the war effort as well. So some of the posters, the propaganda posters to encourage the citizens for the first time ever depicting white and Black people in the same poster, even though that time it was still segregated, but uh, they want to encourage people to however the color of the skin to participate in the war effort. Even children were not excused from not participating. They were given tasks such as collecting newspapers to be recycled, collecting metal scraps all around the school and neighborhood to be converted into um, I don't to be melted and then converted into something else. So it also saw a great number of children never saw their father because um, a lot of them had to be separated, and there's a syndrome that time when the fatherless children during World War II because they uh, never saw their father or have no memory of being with their father because of that. And that was about other things like mistreatment of ethnic groups. Obviously, there are a lot of American Japanese, Japanese American, German American, Italian American who were mistreated during this time. They were seen as uh, what is it called? Um, Traitors, things like that. So yeah, those are the side effects. So basically, this is all what I can remember from the book. Dah, thank you, Kak.
Pipi, thank you
Yeah,
so much for sharing. My question is, what wisdom or lessons did you gain from reading the book?
maybe too, Kak, about the one we have to be prepared for anything. There's no such thing as a sure thing. So I found that incredible how even though they specifically state we're not interested to join the war, but it didn't stop them from preparing themselves. So that's a wake up call for me because usually when I said I'm not gonna do it, then I'm not gonna do it. But I stopped preparing myself. But in this case, we cannot be too sure of this thing, yeah. And number two is incredible how emergency situation can make people united, I would say. But that time, black and black people and white people somehow they were all feel threatened and they wanted to contribute to the war effort. So even black people who usually were skeptical to the government, they also bought war bonds something like that. So I think the good things, calamity can unite us in an incredible way. So I think those two things are my takeaways.
Thank you, Pipit. Donald, do you have any questions for Pipit regarding the book, please?
Yes, thank you. I'm currently studying the Pacific War, and Japan earlier in the war they had advantage of the US in numbers, especially aircraft carriers. But in short time, the US overwhelmed with so many more carriers. And you mentioned about the industrial capacity. So I would like to ask, what are the factors that enable them to multiply their production capacity so quickly? So I learned that they can produce ships, many more ships compared to Japan, for example. So what are the factors that contribute to this ability to multiply their productivity?
Okay, so the book did not specifically mention uh, the factors that can increase their productivity, but I think it is implied in a way that now they doubled the number of the people working there. So as I mentioned before, even say black people who did not have job were recruited to work in the factory. Even women who usually have traditional job were recruited to work in the factory. So from the manpower itself, I think the number somehow increased. And then they also they concentrate and prioritize this production over something else. So, for example, the capacity of maybe I don't know, the one that's mentioned here is car factory, right? Is turned into uh, machine factory. So I think maybe because they stop diversifying and then concentrating on, yeah, right. They stop diversifying. They concentrate. Okay, from now on we only make this ship. So concentrate to make this ship. So all channels has been, at least in that particular factory, has been dedicated towards making the ship happen or finish. So then it also finished on time and very quickly. So I think because the focus was somehow all directed towards this particular production. So but that's a good, that's an interesting point. I would like to know further about it too. There are other books talking about the productivity part or the productivity sector of World War II. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vipin. Does the book mention something about the Manhattan Project, about the atomic bomb?
Well, no, this was actually they completely uh what is it called? Ignored the Manhattan projects. They only talk about the atomic bombs was the way it was dropped basically. So Truman, so yeah, this actually during the end. Only one page that talks about the atomic bomb, but they mainly focus on what happened after the atomic bomb was dropped in the home front. You know, I mean, what happened in the home front after the atomic bomb was dropped. Did not talk about the process of the atomic bomb was made. So yeah, well, the book is only like 50 pages, so I think they uh only talk about the one that directly influenced the home front of this. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
By
All
the way,
right.
as you know, Donald, Manhattan Project was a secret project, so the public did not know anything about it, right? So I think that was the reason they did not even mention that here. Sudah Kak.
Okay. Pete, why do you usually share books about war? Are you interested in wars for a particular reason? May I know?
That's interesting. Yeah. Did I always? mm,
Usually.
Usually. Well, a lot of our history talks about war, no? I like history. I like history. And unfortunately, a lot of our history shaped around conflicts. The conflicts between, yeah, so that's why conflict is related to war. So it's not like I like wars, but I like history, and usually history talks about war. That's it. Yeah. But last time I read about September 11, yeah, Afghanistan, the French Revolution. So yeah, well, now I'm reading about Pearl Harbor, another war.
It's another war. So that's interesting that our history is mostly made of conflicts.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I did not know. I thought our histories are made of developments of society or a growth of a civilization, but that's a bit sad, I think,
Mm,
to know that most of our histories consist of conflicts. That's
yeah,
very sad.
that is indeed. Yeah, Kak. I teach international relations at school, right? And the birth of international relations study is actually study of peace, they call it. So they want to learn after World War One happened. They were curious what started this and how can we avoid the same catastrophe. So that's how the birth of peace study after World War One. But obviously that was not successful because a few years after World War Two happened. So yeah, when I teach international relations, a lot of the chapters also talk about wars and conflicts. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's an interesting reason why we have international relations study too. Thank you, Pipit. I think for you to be able to give questions to Donald and also comment him, I think we need to start with Donald to share his book, which is The Mortal Games. Okay, is that like a movie or something? Donald, this book is that based on a movie?
No,
The
no,
movie is based on the book.
no, no,
No.
non-fiction.
Uh, okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with a movie, Mortal Games.
No, I never heard about the movie.
Okay, there's a movie like Mortal Games or something. Yeah, it's the Gen Z movie. And can you share with us like who the author is, the synopsis of the book, and the wisdom or the lessons that you have gained by reading this book, and should we read this and why? Thank you, Donald. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the time. So the book is actually about chess, and the setting of the book is at the year 1990, around the World Chess Championship at that time. Recently, I got interested in chess because I think chess is a great mind training, and that's my reason why I chose to read this book, because I want to know how the top players think, especially before the current era, because in the current era we have computers and internet, so it's no longer pure about the thinking anymore. But previously they had to do more thinking using books and all the resources. So that's the reason why I chose this book, because I am learning chess these days as a mind training, and this book is about that. The main character in the book is Kasparov, who was the world champion, and then the challenger was Anatoly Karpov, and the world championship match was between these two. What I learned from the book is especially about how these people, the top players at the time, how they prepare, how they think. Because chess is like real life actually, in terms of strategizing and implementing tactics. So for example, from the book, there are factors such as material. Material is the quantity of your troops, because chess is battle between two troops. The quantity of your troop is called material. Me, as a beginning player, I thought that material is the most important. If you have the more powerful pieces and you can capture the enemy's powerful piece, then you will win. But from the book, I learned there are many other factors. Besides material, there is also quality. Quality is the position of your material. So even if you have lower quantity for the material, but if they are better position, then you will have chance to win. And another one is about timing. So maybe you don't have the quantity of troops that the other player have, but if you have the time on your side, then you can win. So these are three things, and usually people focus on just one, quantity. But the other two are also important. The quality, which is the position that you have on the board, and the second one is the timing, which is called tempo. And sometimes and often the great players actually they can squeeze. That's a term that the book uses. Squeeze wins out of something that looks like disadvantage. So that is the differentiation between lower class player or beginner player like me and middle and the great players. So the great players they can make move that look stupid to other. What? Why do they make this kind of move? But they have these three things in balance, because for the beginner, they usually just look at the material, the quantity. So if they make a move that sacrifice material, that looks stupid. But then down the line, these two factors actually play a role, the quality and the tempo, and they eventually win. So in this case, it's like art in that you can squeeze out win out of situation that makes you look like underdog. This is like war also, like war in history. The great generals, they can win a victorious, get victory in battle even of a superior army. So from this book, I learned a lot of lessons about how these people think. Another part, chess players are actually the subject of the research on deliberate practice. There is this book titled Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell that popularized the concept of 10,000 hours of training. And that book, Outliers, actually take the research from another researcher, I think the name of Anders Ericsson, if I'm not mistaken. And this researcher, one of the main subjects is actually chess player. So chess player is like this prototype of how you acquire skill. One other aspect is you have to have pattern recognition. If you want to get good at something, you don't just do raw calculation, because in chess you need to calculate, if I move this, if they move that, what happened? And then you explore all these possibilities. But another thing I learned is that the great chess players, they cut this process a lot because they have a lot of patterns in their minds. Extreme example in this book, there is one prodigy who was forced actually by his father to study chess 12 hours a day. What did they do in 12 hours? So they study a lot of games and get a lot of patterns in their minds. And with these patterns actually comes something interesting that is called intuition. The player in the book, the world champion, said, often I do not calculate. For beginner players, you need to calculate. But top players, they don't calculate. Sometimes they don't calculate. They just use their intuition. How can they get their intuition? Because they have all these patterns in their memory. They study thousand, and not just study, they can replay thousands of games in memory. So amazing memory. And from that, they get this intuition. And also they can calculate much faster because they already get the piece pattern. So I learned a lot about mind, about how to think. And one more thing that I like about chess is you cannot delude yourself. You cannot think that you are a good thinker because you lose. So the fact is there. I cannot think, oh, I am a good player, but I lose, and I have a score. The score is there. I can even see my rank. What is my world rank today? I can see that. So it is a brutal mind training because there is no way you can delude yourself. The fact is there. It is purely based on strategy. There is no luck like poker or playing cards. Purely based on strategy, and you can get feedback. So it is a great mind training. And from this book, I learned a lot about the strategy, how they think, how they balance these different factors, how they think differently from lower level players. And these are all great lessons about thinking, in my opinion. And that's all what I want to share. Thank you. Back to you, Anita.
Excellent, Donna. Thank you for sharing playing chess. I think you're completely right that because I play chess too. I learned how to play chess when I was little. My grandmother was the one who taught me how to play chess. And I joined many competitions in my elementary school and also in my junior high school. And I enjoyed them very much. And when my son was still staying with me, we played chess a lot, but we played with computer now with my son. Before my son started learning chess, I played with my grandmother, with my mom, with my friends, using the real chess. But now the young generations, they're using AI, so they play chess with computer. And I just want to what do you call it get some lessons from your book sharing. Like the first one, I agree with you that you need to know the quantity of your troops, their positions and timing as well. Not just the quantity, but I think you need to know like the function of your queen, that she can move a lot, the queen of the chess. And you need to know the functions of your, what do you call that, benteng, yeah, to protect
The
you.
rook, rook,
The what in
rook,
English?
rook, ROOK, rook,
Root. Okay, you call it
rook.
root. I don't know the terms in English. You need to know that's to protect you. And my grandmother, she used to beat me into steps, just like that. She can see everything. And what's interesting that you can connect playing chess with the book Outliers, that if you play chess for 10,000 hours, you will gain the memories of the patterns of playing chess. And from that memory, you can use your intuition because you already have a lot of experiential knowledge and you can win easily. I think I agree with you. Jam terbang, experience is very important. You cannot learn chess that by reading books. You have to keep playing and losing and winning and learning how to win and learning from losses too. So I agree with you and get feedback. Yeah, and Pipit also you say bishop. Bishop, what's bishop in Bahasa Indonesia? Yeah, which one is the bishop?
Gajah, bishop is gajah. Knight, kuda.
I don't even
What?
know the English, the word for all of the chess pieces.
Yeah,
I know the
bishop.
king and queen aja.
Yeah, the bishop is the menteri kali ya.
Oh, it's
Bishop,
gajah, gajah, gajah.
Kuda,
gajah,
kuda, kuda.
kuda. There is no gajah in chess, Donald.
Oh,
There's
we call it gajah. Gajah is next to queen and king.
Oh,
We call it.
ya,
In English, it's bishop.
menteri,
menteri.
ya,
I
Kak,
call it
menteri.
menteri.
We
Yeah,
call it
Okay.
menteri.
menteri.
Yeah, we
Ya,
use different. Yeah.
Even in bahasa Indonesia, we
ya,
have different terms.
Yeah, for me, menteri
ya.
is the queen. So
Oh
it's
no, di kita ratu, ratu,
Yeah,
ratu aja.
ratu. Knight, I think kuda. Yeah, knight is the
yes,
kuda.
yes, yes.
Like how he moves in L shape and things like that. I think it's interesting, yeah, playing chess. Okay, Pipit, do you have any comments or questions? And welcome aboard, Fajar. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. So my question is it the only way to do it? So, I mean, it seems to me this I'm mm, I'm a generalist, not an expert in anything, right? So it seems to me to be able to put in 10,000 practice to achieve expertise, you need to somehow ignore other things first. I mean, for example, who has the kind of time? So you have to sacrifice your opportunities to do other things and then concentrate on this thing, whatever skill you want to achieve, right? This is only talking about chess as a metaphor, right? But we can apply it in other we can apply it in other sector, right, Donald? Or how to acquire the skill in other sector, right? So does it mean we can only focus on one thing and then achieve expertise in that thing, and then after we're done with that, then we can focus on another thing? Is that what the book implies?
No, the book is not about skill acquisition, it's about chess itself. So more specific. Well, it doesn't talk about skill acquisition. But to answer that, not from this book, because the book is about chess, I think it depends on your goal. Like for me, I learn chess not to become a great player, but to train my mind. My age is increasing. If I do not train my mind with a good, with a challenge, then it might rot. So I need to challenge my mind. So that is the goal. So there is no need for me to spend many hours a day. But if someone want to become a great player, yes, they have to spend a lot of time. Now, to answer the question, does it mean that they have to specialize and only do this one thing? There is, from other books, there is this option. You can become 80%. This is all from this book, but from other books in general. You can become 80% good at several fields, and you can combine them. And I think that is the better approach for most people. Or you can try to get to 100%, but in one field. So it is a trade-off. You can choose to use the time to get at to reach 80% level in 4 fields, for example, or you want to reach 100% level at one field. For me personally, I prefer the first option. 100% is too pricey. 80% is good enough. So we try to, or I try to find the most efficient way to reach this 80% understanding. So I get this understanding and can converse with people in that area, but I don't need to become the top expert in that. But then we can combine these things. So it's cross-pollination. The other field can inspire you for something that you do. Yeah, but to comment on what Babita said previously, actually it is not just 10,000 hours. The quantity of time, it is the quality of time. That's why the research doesn't say practice. The original research, not from Gladwell, but the original one, it is not just practice. It has to be deliberate practice. So the quality of the time is important. In terms of chess, it means you don't just play. If you just keep playing, you will keep losing. There is no improvement. Instead, you need to learn from your mistakes. You need to study your mistakes and then get lessons from that. So that is deliberate practice. You get feedback, and then you improve your mental model. You get feedback again. So if you never review your games and why you lost, you never improve, no matter how many times you play. Okay, back to Pipit.
Reviewing why you lost is important, yeah. I agree. Yeah. Okay. I have another question. It's about the timing one. I don't really understand what timing here that somehow decides the winning or not. Yeah. If it's material, I can imagine you have explained it. Positions also, position is important even though you have fewer chess piece or resources, but you position them strategically, then you can win, right? But how about timing itself? Which part of it that uh how does it play out in actual strategy?
Okay, thank you for the question. So in chess, again, the timing is especially important in the end game. In the end game, you only have the king and a few pawns. Pawns is the weakest piece usually. You no longer have the others, the bishop, the knights. You only have the king and pawns. And timing is very important because pawn can get promoted to become queen. If you move your pawn step by step to the last row, it can become a queen. So pawn becomes very important at the end because it can get promoted. And how can you move the pawn to the end? It depends on timing. A slight mistake in timing means your opponent's pawn can pass your defense to the last row. So you need to be very careful. You make one wrong move and the other's pawn will pass your defense to the end. So that's the example of timing. Even if they have major pieces or pieces like knight, bishop, which are stronger than pawns, but if they misplace those pieces, theoretically those are more powerful. But if they misplace it, then this little pawn can sneak to the last row and become queen. So I think that is the clearest example of timing. You misplace or you make a wrong move, just
Mm.
one, and the pawn will pass undefended to the
So
end.
you have to somehow anticipate if your opponent's pawn be able to reach your last uh will be able to reach your side, right? So they become the queen, right? That's
Yes,
why if you have to block them at the right time to cancel that plan,
yes.
something
I
like that.
agree that is one part of the art because you can have less material, less quantity, but if you have this powerful pawn,
Mm.
you can win because the pawn can
Okay,
have
okay.
momentum. So it's
It's
very
like
tricky.
a lot of soldiers without proper weapon itu kalah with one soldier with proper weapon.
It's more like you have a lot of troops with powerful weapons, but you misguard one door and
Oh.
one lonely soldier get to your king and shoot him, something like that.
Mm, okay, okay, okay. Strategi, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Yeah, I just want to clarify about deliberate practice and just practice. So the difference is deliberate practice, you learn the rules first. You have to master the rules of playing chess. You understand, for example, what do you say? Like peon, we call it peon, the troops. They can become a queen if they are getting the front line, the last line.
Pawn.
Yeah. So what is it, Pipit? How do you say that?
The English is pawn.
Font. Okay. Yeah, the font can become a queen. Yeah, I figure it out by watching my grandmother playing because I thought I was gonna win, but she keeps moving the font, and then finally it gets to the end and she changes with the queen. I go, how can you do that? Yes, we are a lot. So I think deliberate practice means that you need to understand the rules, like that kind of rules, details, in details. And also you learn from your mistakes, from your losses, so you don't lose the next time. I think that's not just for chess. Yeah, I think that's in every aspect of our lives. We need to know the rules. We can learn from the book, we can take the course, we can talk to the people who have succeeded before and learn from their mistakes, and we also learn from our experience. I think that's the lesson. And Fajar said that actually I have book I can talk about. You mean, Fajar? Do you want to share another book, or do you have a book about chess? Can you clarify about this, please?
I think another book, another book.
The ultimate guide of book composition. Do you want to share with us today, right now, or you still have your face being treated like the tusuk tusuk you said? Okay, so great. Fajar is actually willing to share a book. So Donna, thank you for sharing and reminding me about playing chess. I'm gonna play again because I'm a nerd. It's so much fun. But we are losing Fajar. Fajar, where are you? He said that he wants to share, but we are losing his connection.
I'm
Let me.
embarrassed to admit that on my birth and the day I was born, to celebrate my birth, my father held a chess competition in the village.
Really?
So, yeah, he hoped for me to become a chess champion. We actually played chess every time, every day before I went to school on in what is it called? In elementary. But not a single time I won. Not a single time for 5 years. So actually, probably I already put in 10,000 practice of chess, but it was not deliberate. So I remember every morning before I went to school, I had to play chess against my dad, and I never won. So yeah.
And maybe one last comment before moving to Fajar. Yeah, thank you, Pipit.
Okay,
So,
Pipit. Ah, you play chess too. Interesting. Maybe we should have a chess online competition between Pipit, Donald, and me. Yeah?
There's no
yeah,
way.
one last comment. So, because the book that I read was set in 1990, I
Okay.
realized just how lucky we are today because today we have so many resources. So
Mm.
many resources. That's why today the young players they are very, very strong because they have all these players. You have computers, you have online tournaments, all these things are available. So it's like heaven compared to 1990 in that book. Now I appreciate today more. Yeah, because the resources are virtually unlimited compared to that time. Okay, that's
But
all.
then a
Thank
lot
you.
more competitions too, a lot more persaingan because of that.
You
So
can play
everyone,
online, Julie. I play almost every day online
yeah, I know.
in
But
during
then
the
even
boot
though
camp.
there are a lot of resources available for us to learn a lot, but then other people also have the same resources. That's why the competition between players are so fierce.
Yes, yes, true.
But Fajar is here, Kak Mita. Before he's gone, let's call him.
Okay. Yes. Welcome back, Fajar. So, please share with us the synopsis of your book, The Ultimate Guide to Body Recomposition. That sounds scary for me. Spooky body recomposition. And who the author is, who and what lessons or wisdom did you gain from reading this book? And why did you choose this book? Okay, please, the time is yours, Fajar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. By the way, can you hear me? Okay. Sorry if you can hear the music behind. Yeah, it's in the clinic, so I cannot turn it off. But anyway, the book that I want to talk about is the title is The Ultimate Guide to Body Recomposition. So let me give you a brief explanation what that is all about. So it is similar to, let's say, if someone has a someone who is fatty, what is the most scientific way to reduce their fat percentage? Or if it's in my case, I have a skinny fat. Skinny fat is basically someone who is skinny, but his belly is kind of big. Maybe you can see lah ya, like the middle-aged guy. Usually they have quite big belly. So that's one of the sign. So this book is all about that, reducing your fat and increasing the muscle in your body. Who is the author of this book? It is one of the biggest fitness influencer, Jeff Nippard. Basically, he is a very science-based influencer. So I believe that the knowledge that he provide is very reliable. He use researches as an evidence for that. So it's good book overall. Uh, why did I pick this? Well, because I noticed that I am gaining weight, although maybe my arm and neck is kind of skinny, but my belly is kind of big. So I was thinking, what should I do? And after some googling, I find that the body recomposition is a good option. The next question is, why does this book is maybe relevant to you? Well, this is relevant to many of us on how to, let's say, losing weight in effective way, in a very complete manner, like the diet, the exercise, the habits, etc. There are so many things. Okay, so first thing first, if let's say someone, let's say there is someone that is called Richard lah ya. Richard want to lose his weight, and there are several things that he can do. One of the best way is to start uh, counting the calorie that he take. So let's say after some calculation, he has the basic needs for him is like, let's say 2000, so he need to consume like maybe 1700, so make less input. uh, Many people, let's say in the social media or in the advertisement, they made such a huge promise. Oh, you can lose weight in just like, let's say, 1 month or 2 months. But usually those kind of method, either they have a huge drawback or they use a certain chemical that can be dangerous. Uh, like for example, someone who lose like maybe like 10 kilogram a month, well, that's kind of insane, to be honest. Yeah, you basically you kind of starve yourself, and what will happen during that month, that will be kind of suffering, and to be honest, it's not sustainable. The other option, maybe someone can take a medicine, a certain illegal medicine. It will make someone lose weight very quickly, but it's very detrimental for their body. Not recommended at all. So it's more realistic for someone to lose weight in, let's say, 4 months, 6 months. If someone has quite a big uh, quite fatty, let's say, it can take about 1 year. So it's much more realistic, longer, but it's sustainable. Another fact that is quite interesting for me that I find is the importance of sleep. The sleep is very important when it comes to losing weight. Uh, and there's a study that says that uh, if someone if someone sleep less than 7 hours a day, they can lose their weight, but some of them, the majority of them, they will lose a muscle instead of fat. Yeah, it's very different if someone have enough sleep during the day. The majority of the weight loss that he got is the majority of them are fat. So it is very important to have enough sleep during the night. Otherwise, it will be, well, it will be a loss. So it's very important. Uh, I mentioned that there was some kind of supplement that can be helpful. There was some supplement that can be helpful, such as like green tea is safe, and then psyllium husk is also quite safe, and ashwagandha is also safe. Not some kind of shady losing weight in just two weeks is kind of wrong. What else? Yeah. Oh yeah. So basically, there is also, if you someone want to lose weight, there is someone need to eat less, but at the same time they also need to exercise. Otherwise, it will be less efficient, and then also, yeah, at least someone can do some kind of cardio or like weightlifting. Uh, Otherwise, it will not be look good lah. Yeah, at the end of the journey. Apalagi ya? Yeah, too bad I cannot open the book right now, so I cannot review that. The nutrition, the habit of the exercise. There are so many of them. But overall, I think this book is quite impressive for such a simple topic. The author can write up to 300 pages only talking about this, and also it's also easy to read overall. Easy to read overall. Yeah, maybe I just don't want to go delve into uh, small detail, but if any one of you want to ask, so go ahead. Okay. Anyone want to ask any question? Oh yeah. I just want to add something. Actually, there is a way to calculate the fat percentage. It's by measuring
Yes,
the.
Fajar, we're losing you.
Halo. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can hear you. I can hear Fajar.
Okay. So basically, when I try to find out
Fajar,
the.
I'm sorry, we cannot hear your voice.
Kak Mita.
Yeah.
We can hear Fajar.
Oh yeah, maybe it's Mita's connection, yeah. All right.
I
Okay, so
think it's
basically
my part.
when I
Sorry.
calculate my fat percentage, my belly is actually not that big, but it turned out it's 25% of fat percentage. Wow, the ideal is actually 15%. And I was kind of surprised, and I'm thinking that if I am 25%, then maybe my rate is like 40%, or even 50%. So yeah, it's kind of surprising actually for me. Okay, I think that's all from me. Any one of you would like to ask any question?
How do you calculate the fat percentage?
Okay, so you need some meteran baju. Uh, Apa itu namanya? Ya meteran baju lah ya.
Yeah.
So you measure
Yeah, measuring tape.
measuring your circumference of your weight, no, circumference of your belly, keliling perut berapa senti? Ya, measuring tape ya. Ya, you need to calculate si perut itu berapa senti, and then leher berapa senti, and then kalau for women you also need to calculate your pinggul as well. And then after that, you plug it in a calculator online, and you will get the number. Yeah, you don't have to do any kind of math. So you just have to measure it, put the number, and you get the result. It's sort of accurate. It's yeah.
What is
The
the
ideal.
most? Yeah, the
Sorry.
ideal what? Yeah.
Oh yeah. For women, actually, the ideal actually for women is between 20% until 25%. It's higher than men. I'm not sure why, but I think I don't know. Maybe it's kind of controversial. But if a woman is kind of too skinny, like the ideal version of women that is like skinny, uh, in terms of body fat percentage, it's not very healthy, to be honest. Yeah, maybe some kind of hormone or something. I don't exactly know. But basically, the ideal fat percentage for women is higher than men. So this is something that I didn't know before. It's quite interesting. Okay. Any question? Any
Thank
question?
you.
What is the app, Fajar? The name of the app?
You can just simply Google fat percentage calculator and just put it there. I find it in the Google. There's no need any kind of it. You just need measuring tape. That's all.
Okay. And Fajar, I agree with you that when we don't have enough sleep, like
Mm-mm.
if you have less than 6 hours or 7 hours in your theory, I personally tend to gain more weight because
Mm-mm.
I don't think my body metabolism works well. And also during the night when I cannot go to sleep or go to bed, I tend to eat or snack or drink
Mm-mm.
something that is sweet.
Mm-mm.
So I think I agree with that. And listening to you that actually if somebody loses weight, it's not the fat, but the muscle. That's sad because I think we need the muscle, yeah, but we don't
Yeah.
need too much fat. So
Mm-mm.
having enough sleep is good to maintain normal percentage of your body fat and
Yeah.
also more muscle. So
Mm-mm.
have enough sleep. That I think that's also a reason why women my age, I'm 50, who's going through the perimenopause, we have a hormonal changes and we have a body weight gain too because of our hormonal change. We don't sleep well during the night. Some of
Mm-mm.
us have insomnia or we wake up in the middle of the night due to hot flashes or other symptoms. And I think that's also the reason why we gain more weight when we are
Mm-mm.
into perimenopausal age. Pipit, you're not there yet, but I think for women, I highly recommend that you study. I wish somebody had told me when I was 45 because that like 5 years ago, that's when I started my perimenopausal. But it's better late than never. So you will gain more weight. You will have insomnia nights. You will have hot flashes. You will have brain fog. You forgot some memories, like the name of the place when you have to know where you put your keys and things like that. And you will lose your hair too, but and you will be more sensitive, so you get a trigger for anger or you get hurt easily. Those are hormonal related, so you need to consult with your doctor for hormone therapy or an alternative, yeah, like acupuncture, homeopathy, jamu, or whatever. And exercise, Roger, what is your book telling us the right exercise for everyone? Is that just any kind of exercise? Please share.
Um, Actually, this book more focus on body recomposition, so it's not just losing weight. And basically, this book say the importance of weightlifting because if you don't exercise, if you only like running or cardio, you only lose. You don't really maintain the muscle that you have lah. So it's important also to weight lift if you want that as well. Um, but yeah, in my opinion, it doesn't have to be super complicated. If someone is not into that, then maybe like push up, sit up, like something simple. It doesn't have to make you doesn't have to make it more complicated than as it is, in my opinion. I think you can find the tutorial, the list of the exercises in YouTube as well. It's everywhere, I believe. Oh yeah, I have also another fact that I found uh, when when I'm doing this body recomposition. That uh, the best way to control our calorie is to limit the the num the goreng-gorengan, the fried food, and also the sugary food. When I calculate, actually, ideally the maximum amount of oil that we can eat a day is only 4 tablespoon a day, which is kind of limited. And if you look at the food all around us, if you, let's say, go to YouTube, someone fry a fried egg, they use like a ton of oil. Yeah, like so, and also yeah, goreng-gorengan, everything. And also I realized that when I look at the sugary drink, uh, even one bottle is like equivalent to one plate of rice. Can you imagine one bottle of sugary drink equal to one plate of rice? So I try to really limit that. Uh, and I think that although maybe it can be kind of complicated and it's kind of restricting, when I'm doing this journey, I also realize, oh, actually, I don't consume enough vitamin D. I don't consume enough fiber. I don't consume vitamin C. So that's why that I made several lifestyle changes, and uh, now my micronutrient needs is fulfilled compared to the previous my first time. Yeah. So I think that it will be worthy journey in my opinion, because eventually uh, our health is very important, and the majority of the disease that we have is from lifestyle, especially food and sleep, and lack of exercise as well. So any other question? You are still mute, by the way.
No question, but Fajar, see, I started exercising for
Ah.
muscle because I did not know that weightlifting is necessary. I do yoga, I do dancing, but I rarely do this weightlifting. I used to do this when I was 20, yeah. So I got bored with the dumbbell and everything. And I prefer doing yoga and dancing. But since you mentioned that weightlifting is important, I thank you, and I will start doing the weightlifting. And also, I agree with you with cutting sugar. I used to have high blood cholesterol, even though I take a lot of like omega 3, and even I took the doctor medicine like simvastatin. I exercise, I drink plenty of water, but it was so hard to reduce the cholesterol. When I changed my coffee from the sachet to the black coffee with brown sugar, my cholesterol just dropped tremendously and very fast. And then last month, I ran out the brown sugar. I replaced again with the white sugar, and my cholesterol level went up again. So watch out with that white sugar, guys. That's very, very dangerous. Yes. So, I, I think that's one of the reason you have high fat, because when sugar is not processed, they convert it into become bad fat. Yeah, so that's what happens when you have too much sugar in your blood. Thank you, Fajar. Anyone else here want to comment or want to ask question to Fajar?
Come on, before I start my treatment.
No, Donald, no, Pipit, no more questions or comments.
I don't think he can answer. He said he needs to go to his facial treatment.
Oh,
No,
he's already. Oh, he cannot
masih bisa, masih bisa, masih
talk
bisa,
anymore. Okay,
masih
Oh,
all
he
bisa.
right.
said masih bisa sih. Aduh, yeah.
Okay. So, all right. I think today we have three speakers who share the book. The first one is Pipit, who shared that the lessons she learned from learning history is that we have to be prepared for everything. And in the emergency situation, Actually, people are united because they have one common enemy. For example, the black and white people in US, they bought war bonds. And also for Donna, thank you for sharing about your experience learning chess. That chess is good for mind training, and your lessons here is to have a deliberate practice in learning chess or in learning any new things in your life, because there is a different impact when you deliberately practice. You can get the most benefits, but when you just practice, you don't learn anything. So that's good. And Fajar, I think I learned more than anyone else here in the group today, that I have started weightlifting. See, the dumbbell is here. And now I realize that when I wake up at night, I have to replace my sleep during the day. So I still have the same amount of hours of sleeping for maintaining my body muscle, and avoid fried food or minimize. Indonesians, I'm sorry, we cannot avoid fried food. So minimize fried food and minimize sugar, especially white sugar. Replace it with the brown sugar. So, if there is no more comments or questions, I would like to end today's Book Brewers. And you have all a nice weekend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month with different books, different topics. And we will try to find something that is not war,
Ah,
please.
well, too late because now it's Pearl Harbor. We need to take photo, Kak Mita.
Oh,
Siguro.
I don't know how to take photo. Who
I
can take
can, I
our
can.
picture? Okay.
Although will not show my face today. Wait, let me.
You rather show your book than your face.
Okay. 1, 2. Wait. Alright. I can't show ya, kata Fajar. Alright. See you next
Okay,
month. If I
thank
can
you.
suggest, we go back to the second Saturday. I don't know.
Yes, yes. The default is second Saturday, so that will be
12. 12
20.
October.
Okay.
Alright. See you next
Okay.
month, people. Bye-bye.
Have a
Thank you,
nice
Mamita. Thank you,
weekend. Stay
Fajar.
healthy, stay
Bye.
happy. Bye.